Welcome to Elliott's PT podcast. I'm here to help you find your balance and live your best life guilt-free. I don't believe there is a one-size-fits-all approach for health and fitness. We're all different and we need to find out what works for us. I'm passionate about helping people make realistic, long-term lifestyle changes that they will stick to and they will take with them forever. I don't believe in crazy diets or short-term fixes. We all need to live and find a perfect balance in diet and exercise that suits our individual needs. I want to help you find your exercise mojo, feel great and achieve wonderful things. Here is Elliott's PT podcast by Renae Elliott. Hello. All right, today I wanted to chat to everybody about our body image. And I think it's something that's really important. And I think that where we are in our stages of everything, I think it's a really good thing to start talking about and bringing up some things that could be affecting us with our body image and how we're acting. We are obviously we are in summer now, and we are leading into more Christmas holidays, which we may be going away to places. We may be spending more time out on the beach or doing different activities. And I think how we feel about our body is really important. And I would like to get the message across so that we can stop letting certain feelings or thoughts that we have stop us from doing certain things. Now, when I was doing some research for this, some stuff totally shocked me as to what I found out, but we were going through it later. So, okay, on average, on any average day, 97% of women say that they dislike their bodies. So it's actually seen as more the cool thing, or the thing to do is to say that you dislike your body than what it is to say that you like your body. And I think that on its own is really, really sad. And the number one source of shame that women feel that they have about their body is the shame that women have in general is about their body or about their weight. So how did this start? How did we get to this point of body shame? So let's talk about first, what is shame? So shame is defined as an intense feeling of that somehow we are wrong, and indeed in order of needing fixing in order to be loved or accepted. So therefore people, they make the connection that we must change or alter ourselves. If we change or alter ourselves, then we won't feel shame. And so then we can get the happiness and the love or the security that we so deeply desire. So people, so that's kind of what shame is. And it's really sad that we start to associate our bodies and everything with that. And in the same respect, when saying it's more common for people to not like their bodies than what it is to like their bodies, it makes me really, really sad to hear that. And I know that when I did a thing at the start of the year and I had a meeting with everybody, it was like a little challenge, and I had a meeting with everyone, and I think just about everybody that I spoke with, their biggest things was that they didn't like their body. And I remember I met with everybody over like 2 days, and I just wanted to cry after, because we shouldn't be that way. It's such a shame, and it's holding you back from so many other things. So I really, really want to get the message across and see how you can, this is the whole idea of the things that I do, is that we can learn to love your body and accept it. And people start to see the bodies as, with this thoughts of shame again, they start to see their bodies as something wrong and unlovable. And in doing that, you then start to separate yourself from your body. And so instead of being in your body, listening to it, getting in tune with your body, you start disengaging, and you spend your whole life trying to control it. And I just don't want that for anyone. The biggest thing that I found shocking was how many people these days now alter their photos or anything. So we are all getting an image of how we should look, how we should look, and or what is accepted as the norm in our society. But all of it is fake. And it's sad, and it makes me more sad for my kids, because I don't want them growing up like that. I don't want them to think that they're not perfect or that they're not good enough the way they are. And I'm sure you with your own children don't want those things, and girls or boys, because yes, obviously sometimes it has been more known to happen in girls, but there's lots of boys that have different body image issues too. So be conscious if you have boys too. I know that not that long ago we were at the beach, and Cooper at the moment is obsessed with having a six-pack, and it's obviously stuff that they talk about at school, because it's definitely not talk that we have at home. He's obsessed with having a six-pack, and his little friend, we'd finished nippers, and they take their top off after, and his friend was there, and we were waiting, we were getting a milkshake or whatever, and his friend took his top off, and he had a very visible six-pack, but he just had a low body fat percentage, I guess. He had this visible six-pack, and I watched Cooper, and he looked him up and he looked down, and my heart just sunk, because I thought, you're 7. And he looked him up and down, and then he looked at his own tummy, and then he looked back at this little boy's tummy, and then he went, "You've got a six-pack. How did you get a six-pack?" And my heart sunk, because I saw him comparing himself to this other boy, and I thought, oh my God, it starts already. You're 7. You shouldn't be doing this. Like, it's just not right. So I did spend the afternoon speaking to him about, because he kept talking about six-packs, and that this boy had a six-pack, and how could he get a six-pack. And I kept talking to him about that you do have a six-pack, that we all have one. It's under the layer of fat, and we need a layer of fat. That's really important. And just some people have a little bit more fat than others, but and I kept reinforcing how important it is that we all have a six-pack. And I showed him photos of what our abdominals actually look like, and it is something that really frustrates me when people say, oh, I don't have any abs. You do have abs. We all have them. It's just no matter of how strong they are. So I went on showing him that we, how the abdominals look, and that we all have this in our body, and just some people have more fat percentage than others, and I did talk about that a lot within that day, because I didn't want him to start going on, but what we do see in social media, and magazines, and if you start actually paying attention, it's really quite shocking. If you look around wherever you are, so buses, if you're in the shops, like the displays in the windows of shops, they give us this image of how we should look, and lots of them are distorted. 99.9% have been touched up, and we really have, so it's giving us this fake image of how we should look, or those things, and we're all striving for this thing that's actually not even achievable, because it's not real. So some of the statistics I found that I said shocked me. So one said that, so this goes back from 2014. So it said that Google Analytics, so it divulged that we take around 93 million selfies a day. And they did a survey. So from then they said 71% of people edit their surveys, but that was 2014. But in today's society, in 2021, 90% of young women report using a filter or editing their photos before posting them. And that shocks me, because I don't even know how to. So I couldn't even do it if I wanted. I don't even know how to. So yeah. So from the surveys that they did, there was a survey in the UK. So 3,000 people, they took part in this survey, and they asked if they would post an unedited photo of themselves, and the results showed that 29% of those surveyed said that they would post an unedited photo of themselves, which then means that 2/3 of the people in the survey would edit their photos before they wouldn't post them unless they were edited. Yeah, I just think that's shocking, but I think it's also interesting to know that what you are seeing, even people that you think are everyday people, they're editing their photos as well, which I was quite shocked, because I guess I don't know how to do it, so it doesn't even cross my mind. But maybe that just means I'm old. I'm not really sure. Okay, so the other statistics that came from that survey is 83% said that they would edit their lips. Okay, so 83% said they'd edit their lips. 54% said they would change imperfections in their skin. 47% said they would do touch-up details to create a sharper jawline or higher cheekbones. 46% said they're unhappy with their arms and how their arms look in photos, so they would edit them. 42% said they'd edit their eyes. 35% they would alter their bums before posting them online. So it's said to be the Kardashian effect. So legs are said to be the least edited, with 24% of people saying they would edit their legs. So it's quite shocking, you know, but I guess what I want you to understand is that lots of things that we're seeing on social media is actually not it's not true. It's not really true. And when we're maybe seeing people that we want to think, oh, that's how everyone should look, or that's how I should look, you know, it's edited anyway. So it's just, yeah. And, you know, the industry, the fitness or the wellness industry, they do tend to, especially around this time of year, you might see different marketing things coming out, or you might see different adverts like, you know, don't have the Christmas bulge, or, you know, you want a summer body, or lose the lockdown pounds. So they're all doing this to market to you, to obviously sell you their product, but they're all obviously looking, they're targeting like people's vulnerabilities, and making them feel that their bodies are not okay, and that you have to do something about it to look normal, or that you have to do something about it to survive the, you know, the silly season, or make sure that, you know. And then obviously when the new year starts, all the new year things start, and, you know, but it's obviously a cycle that people are on too. They think, oh, well, I have to have a new me in the new year, and all of this, and why can't we just be happy with ourselves the whole life, for our life? Why can't we just accept our bodies and accept who we are for how our bodies are, and exercise and fuel our bodies because of how it makes us feel, and do those things because we feel good and we want to feel good about ourselves, and do it instead of that stuff, instead of striving, doing it for the reason to look like somebody else, or to look like something, or to do it for somebody else, or look like something that we're seeing on social media, which actually isn't the truth anyway. I also read an interview, I'm just going to find my page on that, which was an interview with, I'm probably going to pronounce their names wrong, is it Gigi Hadid and Blake Lively? I'm probably pronouncing their names wrong. So they were on the front covers of a magazine. I'm not quite sure which year this was, and they were just saying, they said that they were actually relieved that they did about retouching, and they talked about how often the photos are manipulated to look more perfect. And Gigi Hadid, she cited in this article that I was reading, she said, it's so important for young people not to compare themselves with what they see online. It is our job as actors and models to be in shape. We have access to gyms, trainers, healthy food, and on top of that, 99.9% of the time, images are photoshopped. She says, I'm even guilty in a photo shoot saying, oh, that looks terrible on me. And then they'll be like, we'll fix it. So I think that's something really important to take on board and think about. And these two actresses or models, they both have made it their practice to speak out against body shaming and being open about their work and about their hard work to stay fit. And she has a thyroid condition, Hashimoto's disease. And Lively, she's a mother to, like Lively, she is a mother to, I think she's got 2 or 3 kids, 2 kids, and she's no stranger to posting her gym selfies. So I think it's really important to, it's interesting to hear things from some celebrities, and how, you know, who are the ones that are in the photos, and, you know, them admitting that they are they are all they are touched up, or they are manipulated to look a certain way. So, and these days there is more and more people coming out with untouched things. But it was interesting, there is lots of different things that are going around, and you can see photos of how they've actually changed them. And when I could see the photos of how they changed them, like I said, I was quite shocked, because I guess I live in a little bubble, but I like my bubble that I live in. And I didn't realize how much of that stuff was going on. So yeah, so how what I want for us is to become more accepting of ourselves and who we are. You are unique. We are ourselves, and there is no one else like you. And we have our own qualities that we bring. And when you are trying to conform to society and be like somebody else, you aren't showing up just as you. And you know what? The world is missing out, because you have something unique that you can bring to here. So let's stop this cycle of not feeling good about our bodies, or not feeling good about ourselves. Stop feeling that we need to hide or shut down because of these rubbish images and the things that we see and we hear all around us. And I think the more accepting of being who we are, accepting of just us, and loving your body and loving yourself for who you are, it's so, the more accepting you can be, the more powerful it is. And I think you will get much more joy and happiness when we start to learn to just accept that. I feel that lots of people think things like, I'll be happy with myself when I'm this size, or when I'm, if I lose weight, if I get into this, I'll then be happy. But maybe, you might get to that size and you're still not happy, you're still, you're not actually, because happiness is an inside job. We got to work on that first before you can. So striving for these other things, you're maybe going to get there and you're actually not going to be happy. So maybe we could work on being happy with ourselves, being accepting, working out what works for our body, what feels good for our body. And then once you're happy and you're satisfied with that, everything else will fall into place. And that's what I hope that I'm teaching you all. So when we see all these different messages on social media and all the other stuff, it ends up making us feel shame. And we feel shame about ourselves, that we aren't looking like the celebrities or the people that we think we should look like. But we're not only learning it. You're not only learning it from social media. It's also something that you've been brought up with, and whether people intentionally mean it or not, I don't think they do. But I think there's lots of family members that have said stuff to us over the years that have maybe made us think differently about our bodies. And it's something that I do not want for my children. And I do not want my children growing up with thoughts that they're not perfect or they're not good enough. And I think it's something that you should be aware of, especially how you speak about yourself and all that to your children, because they're picking up more than thoughts. And you have picked up things from other people. So if you think about it, who has a family member that maybe around Christmas time, if you have to go see certain people and you feel self-conscious about having to go see them because they're like, oh, they're going to comment on my weight, or they're going to comment on how much I eat, or they're going to say things like, you look like you're just like me, like my genetics are just like you, so that means that you'll be overweight, or you shouldn't be eating that Christmas pie, or you shouldn't be eating that extra thing. There's it is a time of year where sometimes we are opened up to more of those things. And the thing that I think is to remember is that type of stuff comes from, you don't need to take all that on board. I remember, and it was only not that long ago that I realized it, is that I have a small chest. That's just who I am, and that's fine. And I never ever thought there was a problem with that. I never even realized that people have bigger boobs or smaller boobs. It wasn't something I even paid attention to. And a boss that I worked for, she said to me, that I was really unlucky for having a small chest, and or she felt sorry for me or something along those lines for having a small chest. And I was like, oh, like I didn't know. I didn't even realize that. I didn't realize I had a small chest because I had boobs in my idea, and I didn't realize that they were that they was different, or there was something wrong with them. And it was only then, her saying that I then started to think, oh, maybe they're not good enough. Maybe I need a bigger boobs. Maybe I need to do something about this. And again, I didn't even realize there was a problem, or not that there's not a problem, but I didn't realize I was different until this person I've worked with, who was a family member as well, had mentioned it. So it's interesting what if you think about something that maybe some family members have said to you over the years, and has that brought some body image issues for you, and maybe it's time to let that stuff go, and don't let that hold on to you or make you stop things that you are doing in your life. Because it wasn't until recently that I thought that I was talking about it, and I realized that, this person saying that actually made me then think that I wasn't that my body wasn't good the way it was, which it is. But so just think about some of the things that maybe you've been told from family members in the past, and how they may have changed your view on your body, or made you think that your body wasn't perfect or good enough, and to really think about it from that's not your problem, that's their perception and how they're viewing things, but you don't need to view things the same way. So we then brought up when people either say things, or we hear things, or we see the different pictures or images around, we then started to feel shame about our bodies, or how we look and we need to hide, or you see even marketing of different products or things like cover-ups, and like wear these things, these high-waisted this or that, all of that stuff makes you think that our bodies are flawed and not how they're meant to be, and we have something wrong with us. And then that then creates more shame. We then feel that we need to hide, or we need to hide and not talk about our bodies, or not talk about this. And the same as you see, a big thing that I see women doing a lot is they don't want to be in photos. They don't want to be in photos, so they hide from the camera because they don't like how they look or any of those things. And that also, the big thing, and especially as we're going into summer, is they feel they have to hide or cover up on the beach. Now, your kids do not care what size clothes you wear. They do not care what you look like. They do not care if you have stretch marks. They do not care if you have cellulite. They do not care if you have love handles or a little belly. They do not give a stuff. Your kids care about if you play with them, how much time you spend with them, and the fun that you can have together. And your weight and all of that stuff has nothing to do with that doesn't stop you from having fun. You are stopping yourself. So think about that. Don't be the mum sitting on the beach, or not going to the beach, or not getting in photos, or not playing or having the fun with your kids because you're shamed about your body. Because number one, you're teaching your kids that message, and you feel crap about your body, and I know that you wouldn't want your children to feel the same way. And number two, we only live this once, so this is your chance. And God, my Cooper is 7. Where did 7 years go? And it's gone so fast, and I know that next 7 years are going to go fast as well. So I want to enjoy every moment with him. And there's going to be a time that he doesn't want to play with me on the beach. There's going to be a time he doesn't want to do any of this stuff with me. So I am going to lap it up now while I can, and take all the opportunities I can with him. And I'm not going to spend it being ashamed of how I look or not doing those things, because really, if you see somebody playing with their kid on the beach, do you look at them and think, oh, she's got a bit of cellulite on her legs, or she's got a little bit of a tummy on her? Do you? Well, I don't. I certainly look at people and I see them and I think, oh my God, look how much fun they're having. That's what I want all of you to be doing. It's a real shame that we feel this way, but I'm hoping to change it all. There is, so Brené Brown, she does lots of things about body image and shame, and she says that there are 3 things that can feed this shame. It's secrecy, silence, and judgment. And she says the antidote to it is empathy. So we are all feeding this shame by keeping it to ourselves, by hiding, by not saying anything about it, and judging others. So you are all feeding this shame cycle. And so the way that you can stop it is because it cannot survive when you are empathetic, and it cannot survive when it's being met with empathy. So that's how you can start looking to stop this cycle. It's so, body shaming, it is really powerful, and it's so deeply rooted in our psyche that it actually transcends to so many other parts of our life, and it impacts so many other things. So how many people have they don't feel good about their bodies, that it then affects their marriage, affects their relationship with their husband. It affects how they are as a mum, as in they don't want to do the activities with their kids, or they don't want to do other things with them. It affects their friendships because they don't want to go out, or they don't want to socialize, or they don't want to do certain things. It affects women's ability to speak out without confidence, and all of these things. So it does relate into more than just the one thing. It affects your whole happiness. Like if you feel good about yourself and about your body, then you're going to go out and do more things, and all of that comes with you. So we can start looking at making changes today. So what we think, hate, loathe, and wonder about the acceptability of our bodies, it reaches so much more further, and it impacts more than just our appearance. So it has such a bigger effect, and we don't need to do this anymore. We need to just start looking at our bodies in a good way. Okay, so it affects our relationships, how we communicate with people, everything. I know people that wear like long tops even in the cold because they feel ashamed of how their arms look and they're boiling hot, and then you get grumpy and you don't want to go places. It just has such a knock-off effect. Okay, so 3 things that we can start doing to stopping this shame spiral. So the first thing is talk to yourself like you would talk to somebody you love. And so if you're feeling unworthy, if you're feeling not good about yourself, I want you to think, what would you say to your children? So what's something that you would say to your children if they were saying this? So if my kids came up to me and said, I'm not reading this because I, look fat in this, what would you say? What would you say to them? I want you to think, what would you say to your kids, and speak to yourself like you would someone you love. So speak to yourself kindly. Number 2 is reach out for someone that you trust. So again, talking about it. So getting rid of the secrecy and the silence about it. So reach out to somebody you trust and talk to them about it. And the 3rd tip is to tell your story. So don't keep it to yourself. So secrets, they intensify the shame and they fester, and it totally overwhelms your life. And so you see things with people, they when they release that or they talk about it, it seems like a big weight is lifted off their shoulders. So the other tip is to start to know what your triggers are. So what are some things that are your triggers? And then sometimes give it a reality check. I'm not saying avoid the things, but give it a reality check. Like, is this actually true? Sometimes if you write it down, or you actually talk it out, or you actually go, oh my God, I'm just being silly. And the more that you get it out of your head, the more you can see that it's just festering in here and we're making it worse. So that's some things we can start doing to stop this shame cycle. The good thing to know that body image is just an image. And the way we imagine our bodies it's the way that we imagine our bodies to be. And so just as we can create a negative body image, we can also recreate it into a positive. And a positive image that we love our bodies you can do all that without actually having to change any of your body yourself. It's an inside job. So 4 ways that we can start shifting our body image and letting go of the shame and all this other stuff. So you can, first pointer, rejoice and accept your body for as it is now. So accept and loving your body as it is now. It's going to give you the greatest chance of experiencing our body and breaking free from the chains of shame and negative body image. Now, there are things that, genetically we are who we are. So you might be taller, you might be shorter, you might have big feet, or you might have wider hips. All of that stuff, there's stuff that's in us that's genetics. You might have lighter skin or darker skin or brown hair or black hair. All of that stuff there's stuff genetics, that's just who you are, and accept it. That's good. It makes you and you are unique, and we should love that for you. When we start having more acceptance, we're allowing us to reimagine our bodies as a whole, amazing, lovable and worthy, and being that we are. And we the more that we can be accepting of the things that we are. You remember years ago there was people that used to always be, there used to be that whole thing about a thigh gap, and like there's things like genetically, there's the way your hips are formed. There's some people that are more, that's just the way that they are. You just can't change that stuff. There's stuff you just can't change. So I think the more that you can rejoice and accept your body for as it is now, that's the first step. So point number 2 is get into your body, joyfully get into your body now. So it leads us to, so having a negative body image, it leads us to thinking that we need to we have this desire to control and to control our body. And people tend to do this through over exercise and food restriction. And so we need to get rid of this cycle, and people then think that they need to, that whole I need to I've eaten a cake and I then need to eat, then need to run however long to wear off that cake, or I'm punishing myself for eating this food, all of those types of things. So we need to get rid of that way of thinking, because it's not good for you, it's not helpful. We should be eating food that makes us feel good and fuels our body correctly, not about punishing ourselves for what we ate. And you want to think about if you're doing exercise as a punishment, we want to stop that. So we want to do exercise that makes you feel good about your body, something that you enjoy, something that makes you feel happy or excited to go to. So it can be, it can be weight training, it can be running if you like those things, it can be dancing, it can be climbing mountains, it can be walking on the beach, it can be whatever it is. But it could be swimming, it could be it's something that brings you joy, and move your body in a way that you love to, and that makes you feel good about yourself, not as a punishment or a way that to rectify something you've eaten. And so happy movements leads to a happy body, and it can get rid a happy body image and get you rid of the shame cycle. Okay, number 3 is going on a media cleanse. So as I said before, all the things that we see on social media, the things that are touched up, and the images that we're also seeing. So there could be different marketing things that are all about, lose these extra pounds, like all those types of things that might make you feel like you're not good enough, or your body's, either unfollow all those things, get rid of them. And again, if I'm one of them, then that's unfollow, because hopefully that's not the image I like to portray. But anything that makes people not feel good about themselves, you need to unfollow it and get rid of that stuff, because it's just feeding into it. But also cleansing from or taking a break from, the magazines, the TV, things you see on the internet, all those types of things. And it can have a very positive result when you get rid of it. And so especially on social media, think about who you're following, and make sure that you're only following people that do make you feel good about yourselves or feel good about your body. And the same thing is if you have certain friends that only talk about your body or their body or things like that in a negative way, you could give yourself a little bit of a break from them, because again, all of that is only then feeding into your own insecurities. And maybe thinking, like I've had people before, and they talk about, they might think that they don't look good enough, or they don't feel good about their body, and you think, oh wow, I'm bigger than them, so does that mean that I'm not good enough? That type of thing. So that was number 3, go on a bit of a media cleanse. And the 4th tip was add more play and pleasure daily for your body. So with shame and negative body image, when it takes front and center, we feel unworthy. And to have any pleasure or play in the now. So we stop enjoying our actual life, and we think that we have to put it off until the future. So, I won't go swimming with the kids until I am a certain shape I have a bikini body or whatever. We think that we have to stop doing things until we have the right body or we look right. I can't go hiking until I do this or anything else. So the truth is that you are worthy right now. Your body is perfect and you can do it. You can do anything. So we want to stop putting the play and pleasure onto hold, because in essence, you're putting off your whole life. You're putting your whole life on hold, and we need to really stop that and enjoy the now. The thing that makes me feel the saddest or the most passionate that I want to change in people is that it seems that kids are of a certain age and my kids run around naked. They're not ashamed of their bodies. They're none of that, and they don't think that there is nothing wrong with their bodies. They don't think there's anything wrong with them. And then we get to, there's a point in women, maybe more middle-aged women, that we get to a point where we spend our time hating our bodies. And we spend this such large portion of our life where I guess you could kind of say you're in your, I don't know, if you say you're in your prime, where you spend that hating your body and loathing it. And, this is the time that you can do so many more things than comparing, saying that you're in your prime, comparing yourself to, I guess I think about my gran who's in her 80s and now she can't, she's a bit slower, she can't walk as fast, she can't do certain things because her body is aging, and she's 86, nearly 87, so her body is aging, and there's things that it can't physically do. Now, if I ask my grandma, which I have done before, which I have showed you, I have a video on it, that I ask her how she feels about her body and how she felt about her body when she was younger. She said it was perfect. And she didn't have as much a body image as what is these days, I guess, because our social media wasn't around as much. But, so we're in this point of our lives where we actually can do the most things. We're fit, we can move, we can run, you can do all these things, and we spend it all either hiding away, feeling ashamed of ourselves. And then there's a point where you physically can't do the stuff anymore. So because, there's a point that, like if I use my granddad example, there's a point with her that, she has a pacemaker in her heart, and that her heart is good, but her heart has been pumping for 86 years, so it's a little bit tired, and there's things like that happen to us just because of aging, but when you're at that point, you then, if you ask any elderly person how they feel about their bodies, they say things like, I'm proud that it gets me through the day. I feel, like they appreciate their body for what it can do because they've had all this time. But when we are in the prime of our lives where our body can do everything, you are, no matter, the prime of your life can be like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 30, all of those things. You can do everything. Your body, and we spend it hating ourselves. We spend it saying we can't, I don't want to go to the beach because I don't want to run around with my kids because I'm ashamed of how I look, or I don't, just stop it. Just get off that loop, because there is going to be a time where you physically can't do things because you're in your 80s or 60s, 80s or 86, like my gram. There is going to be that time where you can't do those things, and you will regret that you wasted all this time hating your body and stopping yourself from doing things. So hopefully you can get off that loop and we can stop hating our bodies and appreciate it more and love us for what it can do, and think more about how you fuel your body, how you how you exercise it, but exercise it not as punishment, exercise it because you want to, because it makes you feel good, those types of things. So hopefully that has got through to some of you. And as we are leading into summer, I want you to think about this and think about how go out and do the things with your kids or your grandkids, and don't stop yourself because you can't, and appreciate your body for what it does, and let's stop hating it and let's start loving it more. All right. So make sure you let me know if you get to listen to this, what your thoughts are, and I would really, really love to hear. I would really, really love to hear from you and how it makes you feel.
Thanks for listening to the Elliott's PT podcast. I hope you have been able to find this information of use to you. If you know someone who might enjoy this podcast, please share it with them and ensure that you subscribe so you can be the first to know when new podcasts are released. If you have the time to leave a 5-star review, that would be amazing and it would be greatly appreciated. If you do so, please screenshot and share onto any of our socials and tag us. Then email the screenshot to hello@elliotspt.com and we will send you a free gift to your inbox. Thanks so much. Have an amazing day. Speak soon.